Those viral anime cooking videos have been all over my feed. So when Flux 3 dropped inside OpenArt, I wanted to see if I could create one myself, but with an actual character based on a real person. So I turned my son Jordan into an anime character, had him make loaded chicken nachos, and used Flux 3 to bring the cooking scenes to life with native sound. And I learned pretty quickly that getting the storyboard was the easy part. Getting Flux to actually follow it the way I wanted was a different story. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you the workflow I started with, what didn't work, and the changes I made to get the final video you just saw. So I started by creating one 7-panel storyboard that mapped out the cooking sequence from the ingredients all the way through prepping the avocado and lime. The idea was to use that storyboard as the visual reference and let Flux animate those scenes in order. And this is where I made my first mistake. Now that I have my prompts and my storyboard ready, I need somewhere to actually bring all of this to life. For this tutorial, I'm using OpenArt. If you're not familiar with OpenArt, it's a platform that gives you access to multiple AI image and video models in one place. And the model I'm testing for this video is Flux 3. What caught my attention with Flux 3 is that it generates native audio along with the video. So for something like an anime cooking video, I wanted to see how well it could handle not just the movement, but the actual sounds of seasoning, chopping, sizzling, and cooking. I'll leave my OpenArt link below if you want to check it out. Now let's take the storyboard we just created and see what Flux 3 does with it. For my first attempt, I went with text with reference and uploaded the full storyboard we just created. My thinking was pretty simple. The storyboard already gives Flux a visual reference for each step. So I wanted to see if it could take those panels and turn them into one continuous cooking sequence. I set the generation to 14 seconds, added a detailed animation prompt telling it how I wanted those first cooking scenes to move. And because Flux 3 generates native audio, I also prompted for the actual cooking sounds instead of adding them later. So we're talking about the seasoning, the movement of the chicken, that sizzle when it hits the pan, all generated along with the video. Everything looked good on paper, so I generated it. And this is where things went left. And this was the result. Right away, you can see the problem. Instead of treating each panel of my storyboard as a separate scene, Flux actually brought the storyboard itself into the video. It eventually moved into the cooking, and there were parts I actually liked. The seasoning looked good, the chicken going into the skillet worked, and I liked the native cooking sounds. So I knew I could salvage those pieces for my final edit. But I wasn't about to keep spending credits hoping Flux would figure out what I meant. I needed more control over exactly where each scene started and where it ended. That's when I switched my approach. Instead of giving Flux the entire storyboard, I switched over to start and end frame. This lets me give the model a specific image for where I want the shot to begin and another for where I want it to end. So I went back to my storyboard and started working with the scenes individually. I cropped out the frames I needed, kept them at 16:9, and paired together actions that made sense as one short sequence. For example, here I'm starting with Jordan cooking and turning the chicken, and I'm ending with the cooked chicken on the cutting board ready to be chopped. Now Flux has two very specific visual targets instead of trying to interpret 7 storyboard panels at once. I kept these generations shorter too. Most of them were around 8 seconds, which gave me enough time for the action without spending credits on footage I didn't need. Now that I knew the start and end frame method was giving me more control, I moved on to the next part of the recipe. For this one, I use the vegetable prep as my start frame and the avocado and lime prep as my end frame. I kept this generation at 8 seconds and prompted the movement between those two images, including the chopping, the hand movement, and the native food prep sounds. And here's what Flux gave me. From here, I used that same start and end frame process for the rest of the video. I paired together the actions that made sense, kept the generation short, and gave Flux specific instructions for the movement and native audio I wanted between each frame. I'm going to speed this part up because the process is exactly the same. The important thing is that I'm giving Flux a clear beginning and ending instead of asking it to figure out an entire storyboard at once. Once I had all of the clips I wanted, I downloaded each one and moved everything into CapCut to put the final video together. Now I brought all of my clips into CapCut and placed them on the timeline in the order of the recipe. I didn't use every second that Flux generated. I trimmed each clip down to the strongest part of the action, and I also kept the usable seasoning and skillet shots from that first generation that didn't go as planned. If part of a generation works, use it. There's no reason to waste good footage just because the entire clip wasn't perfect. From there, I tightened the cuts between each cooking step so everything flowed like one continuous video. And because Flux generated the cooking sounds with the clips, I was able to keep that ASMR feel throughout the edit. Now, before I show you my finished video, I wanted to push Flux 3 a little further, because anime cooking is only one way you could use this model. So I ran a few quick 5-second tests to see how it handled completely different types of content. I tested a cinematic scene with realistic movement and environmental sound, a luxury product-style commercial with a model actually interacting with the product, and then I pushed it into a fast-paced anime action scene with running, jumping, and synchronized sound effects. And while every generation wasn't perfect, these quick tests gave me a much better idea of where Flux is strong and where you may need more control, especially when you're working with character consistency. But the bigger point is, don't look at this as just an anime cooking tool. Think about the type of content you could build around it. And this is where I want you to think beyond just creating one video. You could take a concept like this, choose a niche, create your own visual style, and build an entire faceless content channel around it. It could be food, storytelling, ASMR, animation, cinematic shorts, or something completely different. The opportunity is in taking these tools and figuring out how they fit the type of content you actually want to create. If you want to test Flux 3 for yourself, I'm using it inside OpenArt, and I'll leave my link down in the description. And if you got value from seeing the real process, including what didn't work, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because I'm always testing these tools to see what they can actually do, not just what they say they can do. Now I'm going to leave you with the finished video. Let me know in the comments, would you build a faceless channel with something like this, and what niche would you choose?